So here we are at the start of day 2. So remembering that we've got no bolts, among other things, we need to do a couple of things today. First thing is we're going to have to get a bunch of fir planks, so we're going to have to chop down a bunch of trees. We need 2 steel wire and 4 nails. So do we have that? We have 3 nails and we have enough steel wire, but we need bolts. So let's go and just hit those piles again. So this time we have an axe and we also have the lockpick, so we can hit all of them. And as you can see in the bottom right there, we are quite hungry, but we did bring the mushrooms that we found yesterday, so let's just eat one of those. Okay. So we do need some more food if we see it along, which we should do along the way. There's plenty of food lying around. We are going to need a bunch of these later on, but not right now. So there's some more food straight away. So we'll pick up the button mushrooms we see at least, because we can eat them as and when we need them. There's a pipe we missed yesterday. Alright, so let's see what's in these. So bolts, remembering, oops, I need to stop doing that. I'm going to leave the seeds behind again, because I think we're going to get full pretty quickly. Now all of these boxes here stop respawning after about 10 days in normal mode. I think it's 5 days in hardcore, so it depends what mode you're in. So at about day 10 you'll come back and you'll just find that this whole area is empty. Larch trees, you need larch for one of the recipes a little bit later on, not right now. Now I think that was seeds, so we don't need that. That's seeds, because we've already opened it. So as mentioned, those boxes that you had opened with the axe, they do respawn on proximity, but if we go to the other place now through this gap, we can come back here and those boxes will have respawned. So let's do that. So here's some more food. The ruby beets, you have to cook those, you can't eat them raw, so I'm just going to leave them alone just for now, just in case we have inventory problems. Again, you need to cook these dotty mushrooms, so I'm going to leave them alone. Those we can eat straight away, seeing as we are getting it packaged. Let's do that. The only berries of any crafting use that I'm aware of are those 2 blackberries that you need early on to make the map. The rest you can eat. They don't seem to be that valuable in cooking either. For cooking you really need to start fishing. We'll do that probably about day 3 or maybe day 4, or maybe even as late as day 5, if we really take our time. So lime mineral, that tells us where we're going to need a pickaxe, and we're going to have to go to a cave to get some lime mineral, which we'll probably do tomorrow. Again, it's just getting what you need to make various items in the game, so that you can just you can progress. So we're next to the river, so let's do this. And that's really where the water canteen starts to come in handy. So how many pockets do we have? We have 3 free. I'm just going to look over here for a reason, because from this tower, rather than go directly home, if you go this way around the rock, then you see a patch of grass which is slightly different colour. It's kind of a lime green right here. And there's a requirement for these things a little bit later in the game, dogbane stone. So yeah, I'm actually going to take them now. Now 3, 4, 5, 6. You actually come in groups of 8, but the trouble is they only stack to 7. So if I was going to pick up that last one, I would need a new pocket for that, which I don't want to do. So I'm going to pick these up actually. I want 4 of those early on. We need some food. Let's do that. Well, let's get home because we're getting full anyway. And then let's go to that other pile north of the stream. We can eat those raw. I think that sees us full. You always want to keep one pocket empty because you tend to run into chicory. And we're going to want to... Oh, right here. That's convenient. Because later on we're going to want to... I think we're full now. We don't want to eat all of these, so I'm just going to leave that behind. Okay, let's head home. So the thing about the chicory is we want to make some bigger backpacks later on. And to make a bigger backpack, the biggest one I think we need 4 chicory. And chicory is quite hard to find, so if ever you find it, for some reason you tend to find one relatively early game, and then you have to run around a bit. We may find another one up if we go to the cave as well. But you need to pick it up when you can, because otherwise you spend a lot of time running around looking for chicory later on. Basically, if you find it, pick it up. And don't use it for cooking, which you can do. So we've still got quite a lot of energy there. So what we're going to do is just drop everything off. And as you can see, we are full, so we are definitely going to need this. So 2 steel wire, 4 nails. We've got the nails, we've got the steel wire. So it's just a case of chopping down trees, and we need 28 fir planks. Now we can chop down these big trees here, and each one's going to give us 3 fir planks. And seeing as we need 28 fir planks, that's a lot of trees, which is going to take up a big chunk of the day here. So what I'm going to do is just keep chopping down trees until I have the 28 fir planks, and then I'll be back. So we're just chopping down our last tree now. So this will give us 29 fir planks total. Sometimes if they fall into rocks, you tend to lose one of the planks, which is what happened, which is why I then got 29 and not 30, because that was 10 trees. Okay, so now we can go and make the storage. So I think this is something you have to do at this stage, otherwise you have to start dropping items. If you discard something, it doesn't drop it onto the ground so that you can pick it up later. It basically just deletes it. So this is something we definitely need. So I did find a mushroom while I was out there, so I'm going to eat that. So we need 2 steel wire, 4 nails. So let's just do that and that. And now we can make our storage. Done. So I'm just going to take all of the, well, I'll take everything I can upstairs for now. So storage habits, I tend to put all of the wooden items in here. We're going to use all these sticks later on once we start cooking. Everything else that we find from piles, I tend to put here. Chicory, I'm going to put here. So we've got about half of our energy bar left. I'm going to need some food, so I'm just going to eat 2 of those. Okay, so that's pretty good. So I'm just going to go to this other pile, which is up here. But I'm also going to want 3 driftwood a little bit later on. So what I'm going to do is just run up the river here until I find some driftwood. Then go to that pile. Now, did we pick up? I think we picked up the. Is that more chicory? It is. That's pretty lucky. We don't usually find that much chicory this early on, because we need 4 later on. So that's 2 down. So it means that when time comes to make the bigger backpack, then well, hopefully going to the cave, we'll also pick one up along there, because I tend to find that when we head up there, we often get a chicory or even 2 along the way. We may even get really, really lucky and end up with 4 before we even start going looking for them. But anyway, we need driftwood, and I need to be by the river for that. So you can see it kind of glistening. You don't get cold in the water or anything, so let's just run it here. I've always found 3 by the riverside. I think there's more than 3 initially, so If we haven't found any yet, we're just unlucky. So there's one. The rest should be further down. So I think today we've probably got time to firstly get the driftwood, or get our complement of 3 driftwood. Here's our second one. Get to that pile again, which is up here on this side of the river, and then get home. I guess we'll grab this one here, since we're starving. The light's telling us that it's getting quite late. You can usually tell when it's near the end of the day because that tiredness box at the very bottom right usually tells you when that gets empty, it's the end of the day. That's edible too. We'll take that. Here's our 3rd piece of driftwood. There's always 3 or 4 around, so we only need 3, so let's go to the tower up here. And that should get us home by about the time that it starts to get cold. Because now that we've got our storage in place, we're not going to have limitation on how much we pick up, except for the backpack size of 12. But there is a room upstairs, a sewing room, that we can unlock. And once we do that, we can start to make some clothing, which allows us to run faster and further, for one thing, which is really handy. But also backpacks, which will, we've got an inventory size, or rather backpack size of 12 right now. And we have once we have the ingredients, we can make a backpack of 14 and also 16 later on. So that will be one of our early goals. Remembering there are seeds in there. So bolts seem to be what we were short of. So I'm not going to take the seeds again just because of inventory. I think that's us done pretty much for the day. I've got no more empty pockets, so I can't pick the seeds up, so let's get home. So as you can see by the frosting of this screen, it's starting to get cold, which means it's about time to get home. But that puts us in a good situation to be able to, I think we're close to being able to make our full-on inventory, but we need to eat. Let's pick that up. So I think tomorrow it's going to the cave. So we just get back to the hut. Eat that too. That we need to cook, so I'll pick that up later. That we need to cook. First we need to do this. So the water canteen is going to be really useful. We're going to need a pickaxe, although we don't have the pickaxe blueprint yet. So that's something that we're going to have to go get. But there is a place that we're going to go to tomorrow, So if we just look in here, I don't think we have the pickaxe. No, we don't. We don't have the blueprint yet, so we're going to have to go pick up that tomorrow. Now, as far as a water canteen is concerned, let's go for that. So we need 2 of these. So I need a bunch of steel pipes. So I'm just going to dump that off there. So I need 2 of these. I need more bolts. Do I have any more bolts? Yeah, loads. Alright. So, craft item 1. 2. And we can now make, there's no space in the backpack. Okay. Let's just see what we can pick up here first. So it goes upstairs. So I think. So if we just look at the cooking room here, this is where you need your driftwood there. So we've got 4 bolts, so that's just cutting down a bunch of trees there. And then we'll be able to start cooking. We'll have to go fishing before we start cooking though, because there's no point having a cooking room without fish. And for that we're going to need the fishing rod, which we can do with sticks, rope and rags, which we've got plenty of. So firstly, so just out of habit again, I tend to put all of the 3 things related to trees in there, all of the things from the piles here. Oh, I needed the canteen, didn't I? So that was bolts, that, and I think it was those. No, rope. Right, there's our water canteen. Not strictly necessary, but it is pretty useful just to have that. So what else? I'm just going to keep all of the food in here. I'm going to take the seeds upstairs for now. Just inventory management. Dump those in there for later. Found items here. Chicory. Put it there. Because once this is the room that we really want to open up next, and that's going to take another 10 trees there or so. So there's this something that requires dogbane stems. So we've got those downstairs because we picked up 7 of those. But we're also going to need glue. And if we look at glue under resources here, that's where we need the larch resin. So we're going to have to go get some larch resin tomorrow because we need a couple of glues in the game. So that's what we'll do. But we also need to get lime mineral. So we're going to go to the place where we get larch resin. If we do that, we'll find the blueprint to get the pickaxe. So then we'll be able to come back here, make the pickaxe, and then head off to the mine and pick up the lime mineral. Then we'll be able to make the glue and everything else. So that will be the next step. So we are exhausted, but that is the end of day 2. So I don't think we actually need that lockpick anymore. So we're going to dump that. Because we're not going to stray beyond those 3 piles that we've been to already. There are about 15 or so piles in the game. If you go further in the map's probably about this big, not perfectly circular, but they're probably it's probably more than 15 piles in the game actually. There's an awful lot. So we've only been to 3 of them so far. This one, and this one. But that gets you pretty much everything that you need for the rest of the game anyway. So what I find is that later on in the game, when we're running around, just tend to ignore the other piles when we find them. But we'll use those 3. So this is what happens once you start losing health, and as you can see, we're tired. So anyway, I'm going to get to sleep before I die here, and I'll see you bright and early for day 3.